I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today on the Black Financial Channel, we're going to talk about a couple of things. One, the crypto industry may be screwed, and then two, only 10% of all houses cost under 300,000 right now, which is kind of crazy. It's an amazing development. So get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day under one condition. The condition is that we are Black first. That means we put our community at the top of our priority list. It means that Black resource acquisition is a high priority. It means that buying land matters, starting businesses matters, making investments matter. Teaching our kids about wealth matters. That is how we show Black life matters and Black lives matter, because we're also going to start by showing them that Black money matters. So anyway, I want to say hi to everybody. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. And hello to everybody on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. If you want to follow me there, just be careful. There's a lot of fake accounts out there. Apparently, I don't know if everybody goes through this or not, but literally, even during my own live streams, there'll be people, fake Boyce Watkins is reaching into your inboxes, asking for money and everything else. So I want to warn you guys about that. Just be really careful. If you see a fake account, just report that account. And if they ask you for anything, if they're peddling crypto or whatever it is, look for the blue check mark on Instagram, by the way, if you haven't done that. All right, so let's start off with just the top issue. First of all, I was reading just now that that literally only 10%, how many of you knew this, but only 10% of all houses cost under $300,000 now. Did y'all know that? That literally, I couldn't believe it. It was an article that I read in Market Watch today. And they literally said that only 10% of houses cost less than 300,000. I just really couldn't believe it. I was kind of blown away by this. They said actually it was 1/3 of all houses cost under 300,000 just 2 years ago. And so what you're really dealing with is just this crazy economic environment where prices are going way up. And I'm telling you guys, look, if you haven't started looking down the pathway to buy a home, you probably want to buy one because the prices are going to only continue to go up from there. Black people must own land. We must own property. We must own homes. We must invest in multifamily properties or whatever the case may be, because I'm telling you, these assets are going to continue to go up in value. And it doesn't make any sense if you're paying so much in rent, because rent's going up too. It doesn't make sense when you pay more in rent than your landlord is paying for the mortgage. Give me a yes or no if you understand what I just said. That many people are paying more for their rent than the landlord is paying in the mortgage. So that means that you're handing money over to the landlord, and they're literally taking the money that you just paid them in rent and they're putting it down on the mortgage in their name. So they get the house, you get stress. They build wealth, you're building nothing. They're getting all the benefits, you're doing all the work. So I really want you to really focus on that. And if you don't have the resources to make that move yet, at least take the time to learn. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to pay attention. You know, you're paying attention is cost. Now that is a cost, but a lot of people don't want to pay attention. They just want to get left behind, and then they want to complain about the fact that they got left behind because they're Black. No, money's green in America. It doesn't mean that being Black doesn't matter. Being Black does make a difference. Sure, white people have things that we don't have, and I agree with that. But at the end of the day, you got 1.6 trillion in wealth in your community. Do you know that with the money that the Black community made just last year? Who was I talking to? I was talking to my friend Rory Douglas out of California. Rory mentioned, and I agree with him, he said, do you know that that literally Black people could have bought every major TV network in America? Black people literally could have bought they could have bought NBC. We could have bought ABC. We could have bought CNN. We could have bought all this stuff, you know, and the reality is that instead, we bought a bunch of Gucci and everything else, and it actually makes me think. I almost feel like I owe an apology to. There's this group that I really like out of Texas. They're really talented. Toby something. Tobin Gwen or something like that. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I think his family's Nigerian. I'm actually a third Nigerian. I don't know if I told y'all that. And they had 2 Chainz doing a verse on one of their songs. It was a really good song. And then they also had. Who's it? Chameleonaire doing another verse, right? So in the 2 Chainz verse, I couldn't help it. I had to say something because on the 2 Chainz verse, it was like so problematic for me. Like the Chameleonaire verse was great. The Chameleonaire, 100% black, talking about wealth, and doing better, building up, improving the situation. So then and I loved it. And I watched the 2 Chainz verse. And first thing he starts off is he talks about sipping codeine, jumping out of a Fanta, eating shrimp with a pole dancer. That's a stripper. And then then he mentions that his jeans, that something like, I think an Asian made my jeans, and I have a car with German engineering and something else. And it was just the same old hip hop crap that bothers me. And I said, I said, man, come on, brother. Look, you're 44 years old. You know better. You're old enough to know better. This idea that, because here's the deal, and this is an important point I want to make, because culture, people don't understand how culture impacts your economics. If you have a spender's culture, if you have a money wasting culture, if you have a financially irresponsible culture, then you're not going to have any wealth. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a guess if you follow what I'm saying. Hip hop shapes a lot of black culture. It is heavily influential. That's why the CIA, I believe, when people have come to me and said, do you think the CIA tried to take control of hip hop? I said, you're damn right they did, because they know that this will control black culture. This will keep you stuck on stupid. So, and I tried to say it in a polite way, but sometimes I offend people. I hurt people's feelings when I talk, because I don't know how to do anything other than just be direct and tell you the truth. But I said, I'm listening to this song, and it was a great song, beautiful imagery. They're so talented. And the chorus was, been broke my whole life, now my money right. And I get it, right? We're celebrating economic success. So, but I'm looking at this verse with 2 Chainz, and I'm thinking, so are you arguing that black people, when we celebrate economic success, first thing we do is go give our money away to Asians, Germans, Arabs, Indians, and anybody we can give our shit to? Why in the hell are you going to bust your ass getting economic success when all you're doing is giving it away? You might as well never had the shit in the first place. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop cussing it. I won't cuss anymore because today's Sunday and I don't want to do that. But I'm serious. I need y'all to stop and freeze on that for a minute, black people. Your leading influencers are telling you, go bust your butt, work hard, get money, and then give it away. Find you an Asian. Say, here, Mr. Asian, take $100. Find you a Jew. Here, Mr. Jewish man, take $100. Find you an Arab. Hey, Arab man, here's another $100 for you. You get a car. You get a car. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Don't you understand that giving away your money means you will have no money left? One of the most fundamental rules in all of mathematical history is 1 + 1 is 2. And 2 + 1 is 3. And also we know, I know it's complex, but I'm going to make it simple for the GED section in the back, that 3 - 1 is 2, and 2 - 1 is 1, and 1 - 1 is 0. So if you keep adding minuses to the equation, then you're going to lose a lot of your wealth. All your black wealth will be gone. It's going to be depleted. It's going to disappear. So what I'm saying to you is that, look, I didn't mean to be mean. I know I saw I made a comment in there, and I saw a bunch of responses, and I didn't look at the responses because I just don't have a lot of time to hang out on the internet like that. And I said I probably offended some people. I know that sometimes my name carries into spaces, and I don't even know where those spaces are. And I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but shit, I mean, I'm sorry, but somebody's got to say it. Seriously, I think it's important to kind of check the rappers and say, look, be as creative as you want to be. Be brilliant. You're brilliant. But use that brilliance in a way that's going to add value to the community, not take away from it. Okay. All right. So with that said, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also I want to mention to you guys that that I actually put together some content on stock options. If you want to get started on stock options, I have some free stuff that you can go take a look at. Basically, 5 ways that stock options can increase your income right away. And the URL to go take a look at that is drboyceoptions.com. So if you go to drboyceoptions.com, you can take a look and just feel free. I think stock options are a great way to enhance your wealth. So feel free to go take a look at that. All right. So here's a couple of things I wanted to. So hang on to the end of the video, and I'm gonna give you a stock that I really like for this week. A stock I just bought hundreds of shares in that I believe is going to do very well in the future, short and long term. But first, I want to give you a quick overview of what I've been seeing with the crypto industry. Now, I did a live early on Instagram. I kind of alluded to this. I've done a little bit more research, and I want to kind of tell you guys what's going on with crypto and kind of use this as an opportunity to understand how these things work, how these cycles work. There's nothing new under the sun. Most things have happened in the past, and you can look at history to understand what's going on right now. So basically, crypto has been taking a major dip. It's been getting its butt kicked. A lot of the reason it's been getting its butt kicked is because you have so much leverage in this whole innovative space called DeFi, where basically they were acting like banks without actually being banks. They were acting like a Federal Reserve without actually having a Federal Reserve. They didn't have some of the things that we have in the banking system to protect the system, like lenders of last resort and things that we learned from the Great Depression, basically. We didn't have these things before 1929, and then you saw stock prices went way high. There was a lot of crazy speculation. There's a massive crash. People are jumping off buildings and going crazy, losing everything. So they get pissed off, and this is a cycle. It always happens. Everybody gets mad, and they turn to the regulators and they say, "Hey, regulator, you need to stop this. These people took my money." Now, mind you, these same people who were making money before the crash, they were taking full credit for it. Look at how smart I am. I'm such a smart investor. And there's something about making money that makes you feel like you are just it's smarter than we are, right? And in fact, I'm a professor of this stuff. This is what I do. Been doing it for 30 years now. And one of the first things I learned when I got my education is that it's not how smart I was. I learned how dumb I am. I learned how little I know. Right? I became very conscious of the fact that we don't know as much as we know. So anybody who thinks they know everything or acts like they know everything, that is a pretty good sign that they're probably not that smart. So anyway, with that being said, crypto has been getting its butt kicked, and you're seeing a lot of accelerated destruction in the industry. You're seeing a lot of what Professor Andrew Caroli. Andrew Caroli was my dissertation chair at Ohio State. He's now at Cornell. He's an expert on financial contagion. So a lot of times financial problems can spread just like COVID spread, just like a virus spreads. And the degree to which this spread occurs is whether or not you have enough social distancing and people wearing masks and things like that, right? So that goes for viruses. Well, the same thing is true with financial systems. If you have financial systems that are overlapped, intricately linked, almost like two people having sex with each other that are deeply connected, then when one gets sick, the other one's going to get sick. If the person in the bed with you has COVID, you're going to catch COVID too, most likely, even though my wife didn't catch it, even though she was right next to me, which I thought that was really interesting because I did have it at one point. So anyway, my point here is to say that financial contagion is a big problem in general in the global economy. That's one of the shortcomings of globalism. Crypto has like triple contagion. Like if you think about typical financial contagion as being like, again, using that analogy of two people having sex with each other, crypto was having orgies, basically. They literally were just doing things financially that were incredibly risky, incredibly dangerous. And it was very hard to warn people about that because it's kind of hard to warn people about the risk of using drugs if they're high. Right? If they've never seen the tragedy, they've never seen anybody hauled off in an ambulance, they've never had the police come and raid their house. So you come to a person that's high on drugs and you say, "Hey, that stuff can kill you." They're gonna be like, yeah, whatever, get out of here, man. You're messing up the party. So when people try to sort of warn the crypto industry of the risks of all this financial contagion, all this of what's going on with DeFi in terms of all of the degree to which all these institutions were linked, nobody listened. Especially when they're a bunch of 27-year-olds who made $1 billion, you can't tell them shit, right? Because they basically are going to, tell you that you're stupid and you're old because look at us, we're making money, right? Okay, whatever. Well, now they're learning. Now they're seeing what can happen on the dark side of that. Now, the professor I mentioned at Cornell, his name is Andrew Caroli, Karolyi. So generally speaking, what I see with the crypto space is that this DeFi thing, it's like having a new sports car where it can get you from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It can go 200 miles an hour, but if you crash that sucker, you're going to burn up and you're going to die, right? So DeFi is probably going to get regulated heavily because what happens when there are crashes, and these crashes are pretty bad. You have some of these exchanges where people literally just ran off with the bag and disappeared and the cops are looking for them and all this other stuff. So when the investors lose their money like that, they go into another interesting area that another guy on my dissertation committee used to talk about. His name was David Hirschleifer, and he talked about something called self-attribution bias. Self-attribution bias is where when things are going good, you take full credit. You're telling everybody how smart you are. It's all you're doing. Like I did it all. I made myself great. But when things are not going good, we tend to find a scapegoat. We even do this in sports. Like if the team wins the game, people will tend to say, we won, we won. But when the team loses the game, they say, you ask them, well, what happened? They'll say, oh, they lost the game. Well, wait a minute, it was we before, but now it's they. How come it's not we when you're talking about the losses, just like when you talk about the wins? Well, that's because of self-attribution bias. We tend to not want to internalize the negative. We only want to internalize the positive, right? So basically, investors kind of do the same thing. So when they were making a ton of money, it was really like a big deal. It was like, oh yeah, look at us, look how smart I am. I bought some Dogecoin and it doubled in value. Well, now that they're losing money, they're mad. They're going to the regulators and they're saying, they took my money, they screwed me, they took advantage of me because I was a new investor and I didn't know what was going on. So now the regulators are starting to put pressure on the Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, Gary Gensler. They're telling Gensler, look, you need to go in there and you need to regulate this industry. If you don't do it, we're going to do it. And people like Elizabeth Warren are leading the charge to basically say this shall not be allowed anymore. We're going to go in here. We're going to go get a lot of these little crappy coins. We're going to clean up the neighborhood, right? So when the cops come to clean up the neighborhood, on one hand, you could have a cleaner neighborhood if they're trying to do a good job. On the other hand, some people are going to get beaten up. Some people are going to get locked up. People are going to get shot, and it won't be the same neighborhood as before, right? So ultimately with crypto, they're going to come clean up the neighborhood. I believe that they're going to do something similar to what was done after the Great Depression. After the Great Depression, because investors were scared, because again, they went to this financial neighborhood and they lost a bunch of money. They were scared to go back. They said, we need to make this neighborhood safe again, the same way Rudy Giuliani cleaned up Times Square back in the 1980s. Well, what they did was they passed a bunch of laws. They passed a bunch of securities laws that are still relevant 100 years later that really changed the scope and the shape of the industry, that minimized the chances that companies could even that they could even take your money if you didn't know what's going on. They minimized the chances the company could take your money and run away. They minimized the chances the companies could take your money without giving you full disclosure and regular updates of where your money's going. Ultimately, it made the U.S. equity market some of the safest markets in the world. So crypto, I believe, is going to go through a similar transformation. I believe regulators are going to get together. They're going to pass a bunch of laws, and I really think they're going to have their big eyeballs on DeFi, because DeFi was really interesting to me because, the thing about security and economic safety is everything looks secure when it ain't tested. It's like if I show up at a concert and I'm a rapper. I would hate to be a rapper because you got all these people that are trying to kill you constantly. Because you get what you put out. If you're putting out gangster, then you're gonna get gangsters showing up at your show. So if I'm a gangster rapper and I got like 15 security guards and I am big black SUVs and guys with sunglasses looking around like they're protecting me, then it really looks like I'm secure. Like it really looks like, okay, you can't mess with Dr. Boyce because Dr. Boyce got security everywhere. But really, you don't know. You don't know until the barriers get tested. You don't know until somebody pulls out a gun and starts popping, whatever, right? And you see them actually in action, right? And then what happens a lot of times is you might really think you're secure, but then you find out that you're not, And then, in fact, you even have some rappers that are dealing with some real tough situations, some RICO charges and all this stuff, and because I think that they felt that they couldn't be touched, right? So because they had this false sense of security. So ultimately, in crypto, I believe that there was a false sense of security that developed around DeFi. There was also a false sense of security that developed around these stable coins. The idea was we're so smart, we can design these stable coins that can't fold, they can't flop, they can't drop in value, and because we've got all these systems in place to protect us. Well, those systems did not work. So ultimately, what I think is going to happen is they're going to start putting some regulations in place that are going to be very restrictive at first. But ultimately, one of the things they could do, if they do it right, is it could make crypto a safe neighborhood economically to go back into, and it could actually pull in a lot of money. The same thing happened with the mortgage market in the 2000s. It was the market for homes that really ended up destroying the whole economy because people were making loans like crazy and loaning money to your dog, and you didn't have to prove you had any income and all this other stuff. Well, what eventually happened was after the crash, they put something in place called the Dodd-Frank Act, which was a big crappy. It was just burdensome amount of bureaucracy in place that I bought my house in Atlanta. That's where we are now, and I remember just being so annoyed because all the regulations had changed so much. But one benefit is that you're not likely to have a housing crisis similar to what you had back in 2008. Even if there's a recession, people have a lot of equity in their homes. The risk level is much lower. It's a much safer economic neighborhood than it was in 2006. So that's kind of what I'm seeing going on with crypto. Crypto also is probably going to get screwed by the regulators because they don't have a lot of lobbyists. From what I understand, crypto does not have, like a lot of industries, they get protected because they have all these lobbyists, millions of dollars they put into lobbyists. They go up there and are, to ask the legislators to pass bills in their favor because, all of our politicians are owned by money. That's why money is important to understand, because money really runs your country, period. But crypto doesn't have a lot of that. So they're going to make whatever laws they feel like making, and it's going to get ugly. It's going to get real ugly. I promise you that. All right. So anyway, guys, as I promised, I mentioned that I'd tell you what my stock pick of the day is. So I'm going to tell you that in 1 second. Before I do that, if I could ask you to do this for me, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, I want to remind you, if you live in near Atlanta, my wife is actually hosting a speed dating event. I know that's kind of separate from what we're doing, but if you're into that kind of thing, she's a matchmaker. She's a couples therapist. She's a full professor of social work. She's been doing couples counseling for 30 years. So if you want to go take a look at the event, you can actually go to boycewatkins.com and find it up there. And also, I'll be in Detroit next week from the 27th, or is it the 27th? Or I think the 29th through the 31st of July, with Herb Strather and Gary Shelton, two guys that are brilliant. They've done billion-dollar deals. So they invited me to come up, and I'm going to join them. Dr. Claude Anderson is going to come through via video, and they're going to have some bank presidents. And the whole focus pretty much is going to be on how to do business deals without any money, like how to get the bank's money so you can actually get things done. Access to capital literally is the number one problem that the Black community faces. The fact that banks and others don't make money available is a huge impediment to the building of Black wealth. So if a politician came to me and said, well, Dr. Boyce, what is it going to take? You're a tough cookie to crack. What's it going to take for us to get your support? I would say, here's what you do. Number one, you make a rule where any African American, any descendant of slavery, any foundational Black American, because of slavery and reparations, should be able to get a home loan for $250,000, no matter what their income level is. If they've been paying their rent consistently, for the last 2 or 3 years, they should be able to borrow $250,000 to buy a home. That right there would lead to a multi-trillion-dollar growth in Black wealth. By the way, it looks like my connection might have gone. Give me a yes if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. I know you can't see me anymore because for some reason my camera went off. Give me a yes if you can hear me okay, because something weird just happened here. I don't know. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? I think I've been having trouble with this Wi-Fi since we came to this house. Okay, guys, we're gonna just finish this via audio. I don't know why my camera went off. I apologize for that, but it's okay. You won't be distracted by my stunningly good looks anymore. So that's good for you. All right, so I'm playing. All right, so so literally the ability to access capital is the number one barrier to Black people building wealth. Like Elon Musk never could have become a billionaire without access to capital. They had not loaned him money, his business never could have grown to the magnitude that it is right now. Bill Gates had to borrow money. Everybody, Jeff Bezos, needed access to capital. So access to capital is important. So I would tell them, I say, number one, any Black person who's been paying rent consistently should be allowed to borrow $250,000 interest-free. Number two, I would say any Black person that has a business that's functioning, that looks like it can make money or that's making money already, should be allowed to borrow $100,000 whenever they want it. I would say also on top of that, in general, we should be able to come together as a community and literally raise the money to buy land and all the other things that lead to wealth accumulation in this country. If we could do that, then I will be very happy to vote for any politician who supports that, Democrat, Republican, or otherwise. Now, somebody says we can see you, or we can't see you or hear you. Okay, let me know if you can hear me and see me. I'm getting mixed answers here. I just want to make sure that I'm coming through okay. So let me give you my stock pick of the day. The stock that I like. The stock that I like is called Bill.com, BILL.com. I'm not going to go into all the details in terms of why I bought a bunch of shares of this company. I'll just tell you that I did my research and I really like this company a lot, and I think it's very, very good. So that's my 2 cents. That's all I got to say about it. It's Bill.com. If you'd like to see the other stocks that I pick for my students every single week, feel free to join us for stock market investing class. We meet every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We also do we're doing a stock options boot camp that occurs every Thursday night at 8 p.m. So feel free to take a look at all that. You can go to boycewatkins.com and check it out, or if you're on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. Okay, guys, I'm about to get out of here. I don't know why my Wi-Fi was acting all crazy. I apologize for that. But either way, love you, and it was great to see you. And I will chime back in with you guys very, very soon and let you guys know what's going on. So take care. Talk to you later. Peace.